Scott Kerman, it wasn't a surprise.
No, absolutely not.
You have them with 130 wins, I think, this year. No, I got to give you credit. You said 90 wins, and I said they'll be lucky to go 500. I mean, I hope you're right and I'm wrong, to tell you the truth.
But to me, the best is yet to come. If once you have 4 very weak positions right now, and they're still doing it with guys like Renfro, Frenchie Cordero. I don't even know who plays second base, and Bobby Dahlback. You get rid of those 4 guys, and if you can replace them with just normal baseball players who can contribute, all of a sudden you have a stacked lineup, and the pitching's been fantastic.
I tell you, this Chaim Bloom, I got to give him credit. He just like loads up with guys who can throw 98 miles an hour.
Yeah, right.
And just throws it against the wall, and he sees what sticks. I got to give him credit.
Look, Dombrowski mortgaged the future, Timmy, to get us a title in 2018. The farm system was bare. And in Bloom, in a short period of time, looks like he's built it up to, at the very least, middle of the road as far as the major leagues go.
Yeah, well, Dombrowski did exactly what Dombrowski does. That's what he does. He goes in and he sells, he makes a deal with the devil, and he gives you an out. I mean, that 18 team we used to say, hey, this is the best team we've ever seen on the field for the Red Sox. I mean, at least performance-wise. As you look at other previous teams, maybe had more Hall of Famers on it. But performance-wise, that team performed. That there was going to be a price tag. Then you look at what Chaim Bloom, after that was coming up here and beating us with a payroll that was a fifth of what the Red Sox were paying. So you had to say, this guy knows what he's doing. I mean, if he's competing on a shoestring in the American League East, he's got to know something.
And look, it's remarkable. 37 games into the season, and we have Erod, Evaldi, Pivetta, Richardson, Perez as the starting rotation, and they're one of the best rotations in baseball. Other than Erod, you could say that these guys are lucky to be 4th or 5th starters on a great team.
What a surprise Richards has been. You agree?
Yeah, Richards, he started off poorly, but all of a sudden the guy has stuff, Timmy. It's whether he can throw the ball over the plate. Him and Pivetta, very similar type of pitchers, and right now they're pitching well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Erod, Cora seems to be the Erod whisperer.
Absolutely.
I don't know if he knows what buttons to push. We wish Brad Stevens was the Jason Tatum whisperer, but he's not. He knows how to get the most out of Erod somehow, some way.
No, there's no question. I'll give Scumbag Cora absolutely that. There's no question he's going to make Erod a very rich man coming up very soon. The statistics, Timmy, on Erod when he pitches and how the Red Sox are victorious is remarkable. It's like an 800 winning percentage.
Crazy.
So Devers, Xander, Verdugo, Vasquez, and JD, those guys have been carrying this team.
How about, why is JD Martinez like on the chopping block every year, every 6 months? The guy's
a big contract, Timmy.
Yeah, but everyone that can hit like him gets a big contract, right? I mean, isn't that the way it goes?
No, they don't pay much. The American League does not pay much for DHs anymore. The Red Sox have always paid for DHs. Big Poppy, now all of a sudden JD Martinez. That's what we do here. But Martinez has been the best hitter in baseball. So right now, it's looking good.
Yeah, I mean, Martinez can hit. That guy's a student of the game.
Absolutely. Yeah, last year, none of us watched, but he was terrible. Obviously, he wasn't into it as the fans were not into it, and most of the players weren't into it. So there's a big question mark going into this season, Timmy. What JD Martinez were you going to get? And we're going to pay $20+ million for a stiff, and that's not the case.
No, well, it turns out that video is very important to him. He's just a different guy. It's part of his preparation, I guess. And it's obviously it's very important to him because he's tearing the cover off the ball right now.
So I hate when top prospects are buried in the minor leagues, and then all of a sudden, like Jared Duran, hits 2 home runs in opening day for the Woo Sox in Worcester. Why couldn't he be up here hitting 2 home runs? It's baseball. It's a game. Do you think these guys, like a guy like Duran, does he really need to be in Worcester right now?
Baseball, you see guys come into the NBA at the age of 19, and some of them do very good. And hockey, occasionally you see that. Baseball, for some reason, I mean, it's not unusual for a guy to see his first Major League Baseball game when he's 24, 25.
Yeah.
It's almost, these guys almost need like more seasoning for some reason than the other sports do. I don't know why, but
there's
you
some
see it all
players
the time.
to me that just play better with the brighter lights. It agrees with them.
How old was Pedroia when he came up?
Oh, he's probably pretty. I'm going to say he was around 20, 23, 24. Yeah.
Yeah. Who can you remember that came in? Devers was relatively young, right?
Devers very young. Xander, very young. Remember, Xander was on the 2013 team.
But they only put him in sporadically when he came in.
Well, no, he came in at the end, and then he played during the playoffs.
And that was it. Did he continue playing?
Yeah, during the playoffs. Yeah, absolutely.
That was it. He's been the full-time shortstop since then.
Since full-time shortstop. Absolutely. 8 years he's been there. And so, yeah, he was up there when he was 20. Bobby Dahlback, he's a rookie, and everybody thinks he's so young. To me, he's 26.
That's what I mean. Like, he's just getting a taste of the majors at 26, right?
Yeah. He's 3 years older than Tatum.
Like, if you don't make it to the NHL by the time you're 24, you're done. Like, go start selling insurance. It's not unusual. Like, it's like these guys have to be marinated their season. I mean, most of them, Scotty, most of them.
I know, and more and more players to me are being drafted from high school. So we're talking about 6 years in the minor leagues.
It's incredible. It's 6 years in the minors.
Yep. Remember, that's why a lot of
and then some of them, Scotty, go on to have very productive major league careers after 5 years, 6 years in the minors.
Yeah. But that's why, Timmy, a lot of these athletes are going to football and basketball because they don't want to be a guy who's toiling in the minor leagues for 6 years and nobody's watching.
Yeah. Even though there's a lot of money in baseball, I mean, you can be a scrub in baseball and make a lot more than you can in the NFL.
And have longer careers too, obviously, and not come out with.
Yeah, you're able to walk when you're 30 years old.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. All right, so as the season goes on, there's really no great team this year in Major League Baseball. Would you be willing to mortgage the future? Meaning, Chaim Bloom, some of the capital he's picked up in the last year, would you be willing to trade it for some players before the deadline to see if we can go for it and win this year, if you can believe it?
That's a tough question. I mean, you want to build something that's going to last.
Right. And that's why he's here. That's why Chaim Bloom is there.
Yeah. You want to build something that lasts. You're almost going back to the, the previous regime who did mortgage the future and put it online. I'd rather see him, will they do it? I don't know, but I'd rather see them build something that lasts.
Right. Me too. Yeah. I would say
5 to 6 years.
Yeah. I just don't think that, look, they're a good team and I do think they can win 90 games, but I just don't think that this team is built to go through a long playoff season and come out ahead. It's not an Uber team.
No, it's not yet anyways, but it looks like they're building something pretty good here. Though. Yeah. I'd like to see those 4 positions you said, get those positions more solidified, and don't give away maybe a couple of guys that are coming up who might be superstars in the future.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
A star second baseman maybe and a couple of other positions and then watch those guys have fantastic 15-year careers in another city.
Yeah, you don't no, because I think they're more likely to win a title next year.
Yep.
It just feels like it.
And then have some staying power. But you know how it goes. Once you win it, they just come in and pilfer everybody off your team. And
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
So,
All right, go to the Boston Celtics. Seventh position looks like it is. I have to be honest with you, and nobody loves sports more than I do. I can't watch them anymore. After last night, I watched 5 minutes. They're not entertaining.
I don't know if it's just the Celtics or the NBA in general. I think people are getting tired of this act.
The 3-pointers it's gotten ridiculous.
It has. It's like, I always go back to like when you're playing your buddy in one-on-one and you get kind of gassed, you just start heaving up the long shots. You stop taking it inside.
It's not fun to watch because we love the individual athleticism of the NBA and the remarkable abilities these guys have. It's all out of play now. Everyone just heaves up 3-pointers and it's running back.
The greatest part about watching Magic Johnson and Larry Bird was their passing game.
Yeah.
I shake my head at tremendous passing and plays, I mean, Steph Curry's 1 in a million. I shake my head at his 3-pointers from, 80 feet away. I mean, he's an exception to the 3-point thing, because I think Steph Curry, people say, oh, well, what about Steph Curry? Well, he's an exception. He's an exciting guy because of the way he's the greatest shooter in history. So let's take Steph Curry out of the equation. Other than that, the 3-pointer is and you're living and dying with it. You go on a 0 for 10 3-point streak. All of a sudden, you're down 20 and the game's over.
Guys have 5-foot shots. Sometimes guys could have layups. Instead, they'll kick it out for a 3. That's not basketball.
That's the analytics. That must be the analytics. Just like, they're using the analytics in baseball. They must be saying, 3-pointers win basketball games if you're hitting them. Like the Celtics didn't seem to be able to hit one for their life the other night, and Miami was draining everything they were throwing up.
Okay, Jaylen Brown's hurt, out for the season with the wrist. Really, once Jaylen Brown went down, and to be honest with you, he's the most likable guy on that team.
I like Jaylen Brown.
Right.
I like Marcus Smart too.
No, but Smart, which you would agree that Marcus Smart has not been the typical Marcus Smart.
All right. No, he's not. Something's up with him, but he's a full-on intensity guy, and I mean, how long can you do that if you're not surrounded by like-minded people? I think he's run out of trying to encourage people that don't want to be encouraged.
And Kemba Walker, maximum salary, minimum.
We were psyched to get him. I mean, he was the anti-Kyrie, right? But he's damaged goods, and he is what he is.
Never feel his presence on the court. Never feel like he's anything special.
I know.
And then that what he got hit in the shoulder.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
When Kemba got hit in the shoulder, and all of a sudden he just drops the ball and walks out of bounds. I mean, that was like a Patrick Pass. Remember when Patrick Pass got hit and he just dropped the ball? And that was the last time we saw Patrick Pass ever again.
They say he's a great guy, and he probably is, but this team is lacking a soul, Scotty, and I don't know where that comes from. I don't know if that's coming from, is Jason, it all comes back to Jason Tatum for me. Is he sending out some vibe that the rest of the team feels? I mean, it's almost like he had his 60-point game and said, look how great I am. And now I'm going to live off of that for the rest of the season.
But Brad Stevens, he has no identity like the team. I mean, there's just really nothing. He's like a cardboard box. I mean, it almost feels like he's just phoning it in too.
I know. And I was a big Brad Stevens fan, but can you see this group continuing as constituted right now?
That's a great
and accomplishing anything.
Yeah, what do you do next year, Timmy? You have to shake this team up. I mean, there is a malaise on this team. They just re-signed Brad Stevens in the offseason to like a 5-6 year deal, probably at the very least $6 million a year. So they probably owe him $35 to $40 million, which means he's going nowhere.
He appeared to have overachieved everywhere. He's at Butler, he overachieved. And then he comes to the Celtics and we make the Eastern Conference with never a threat of us actually winning a championship. There's always those super teams that, are waiting around the corner for us. And there's several of them this year. It's like the NBA in general, though, Scotty. I'm just kind of tired of it at this point.
Well, also
the whole superstars going to the team of their choice. I mean, it's a free society. You can go where you want, but I don't know if the fans are buying into that formula.
Well, I would argue, look, Phoenix Suns have a chance to, go to the finals. Lakers seem to be, an older team now with LeBron. Denver, if they hadn't had the injury to Murray, would definitely have competed to get into the finals. I understand on the Brooklyn Nets side, but in the Western Conference, it's pretty open. It's pretty competitive.
Yeah, I'm losing interest these days.
Well, of course, you're losing interest because the Celtics suck, and of course, people are saying the Celtics are unlikable. Yeah, because we don't like teams that lose. So yeah,
and I'm a homer guy. You know what I mean? Like if my team's not in it, I don't really care. So
well, that's always.
I'm kind of judging the NBA by what I'm seeing with the Boston Celtics right now. And
of course.
I don't like it.
Yeah, well, we're Bostonians. We're infamous for having absolutely no interest if our teams aren't in it. All right, go to the Patriots. It's all about Mac Jones 24/7. I'm calling him Mac Daddy. He's our Mac Daddy. It's kind of fun to think that maybe this guy could be our franchise quarterback for the next 10, 15 years.
I've watched a lot of his highlights at Alabama. He looks like a very accurate thrower. I mean, I don't want to. We cannot make comparisons to Tom Brady. He's going to be his own man.
Yeah.
All I know is I have hope. I have hope. If we hadn't done anything in the quarterback department with all of these free agents that we have signed, the quarterback is the key to the kingdom in the NFL. And if you don't have a guy back there that's giving you some kind of hope, it's hard to get excited. But so I got excited about Mac Jones. It's hard to say he hasn't played a single snap in the NFL. And he had a tremendous Alabama team around him. So did he make those Alabama receivers great, or would they have been great without him? I mean, what?
It doesn't even matter.
Is it the chicken or the egg?
But Timmy, I hear that all the time. He delivered the passes to him.
He delivered the passes. He set every kind of freaking record that was available to be broken.
And he's going to have hopefully top wide receivers in the NFL, and it's the guys who get the passes to him.
Yeah, people are saying, anyone could have done that with those receivers. Well, that guy still had to deliver the ball in a very good SEC conference against very good defenses. So
you can only do what you're asked to do.
I'm certainly not anti-Mac Jones. I'll tell you that.
They had the Senior Bowl. They did special, showcases where he showcased his talent in front of Belichick, in front of McDaniels. They saw what he could do, and they picked him.
And this thing about, these other more mobile quarterbacks. What quarterback just won the Super Bowl? A 43-year-old immobile quarterback beat a super mobile quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So,
Aaron Rodgers, MVP. I know Aaron Rodgers he was a very mobile quarterback, but as the years have gone on, he's not as mobile, and he won the MVP. He's 37 years old. So
it still comes down to going back in the pocket and making your reads and delivering the ball accurately.
Absolutely. And Mac Jones could be the future, or he could not be. And you could say that about Trevor Lawrence. You could say that about a Zach Wilson, a Justin Fields. I mean, a Trey Lance. It's a crapshoot.
Trevor Lawrence is more mobile, but Trevor Lawrence is like Mac Jones on steroids. I mean, Andy can move. But one thing also, these quarterbacks that like to run around a lot, they have in a lot of cases, they have a very limited lifespan until they're on the IR.
Yeah, because they're less likely to stick in the pocket and wait for plays to develop. That's Lamar Jackson, and he's won absolutely nothing because in the playoffs, it's a different ballgame.
Well, you're usually running into the best defense by the time it gets
Yeah.
to the end,
Yeah.
and they've figured something out. You know what I mean?
And then in Super Bowls, you got 2 weeks to figure out how to defend these guys. And Patrick Mahomes is one play away. Jimmy G hitting Sanders on a pass for having 0 Super Bowls. And then we wouldn't even be talking about a mobile quarterback, would we?
I know and they just get injured more too. I mean, Mahomes has dodged the bullet. He's not a big time runner, but you know, we saw with RG3, a lot of these guys, they get banged up quick. They're more susceptible to getting, hit when they're out there running with the ball.
And I'm going to guess in the next 5 years, Mahomes ends up getting an injury that costs him the year because, he does take shots. And like you said, those guys don't last if they take these heavy shots because the linemen, that's their job. Injure the quarterback, right? And it's been that way when we were playing high school 40 years ago. That's what you did. Get to the quarterback and see what you can do. All right. Statistic came out a few days ago. The Patriots have the slowest wide receivers in times in NFL.
Still, right now,
what is it about Bill Belichick that he has no idea how to draft or sign wide
presently with the new guys we got?
Yes, with the new guys, when you take in their combines and however they run, they are the slowest group in the NFL.
Wow. You'd think that they would see what Tyreek Hill can do, and they might say, I want some of that,
Wouldn't you think that they would hire someone at this point? Belichick's been around 20 plus years, that you would hire an evaluator just to evaluate wide receivers for the draft. That's his job.
Belichick should almost see, hey, this is the chink in my armor. Receivers are my Achilles heel.
Yeah.
Let me find someone they're an expert at that. And I'll hand that one aspect of the job off to, because he's, other than Randy Moss, which was a freaking lucky deal we got there. Edelman, but he's not your prototypical. And
yeah, he was a 7th round pick, and he was a quarterback, Timmy.
Yeah, and we've had some luck. We had Gronk for as long as we had him, so that covered a lot of sins. You know what I mean? A lot of warts that we had.
We drafted Aaron Hernandez when he obviously had a lot of baggage, and he was killing people. But that kind of just handed us to because he was a top talent, but a knucklehead.
Other than Randy Moss, it's been a no-name receiving core since Brady got there. Right?
Yeah, Deion Branch played very well for them for a while, and he was a 2nd round pick out of Louisville and won an MVP. But yeah, I would agree with you. But Deion Branch wasn't a superstar. He wasn't a number 1 wide receiver.
You there?
Oh yeah, you'd frozen up.
We had a little glitch there. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we go to the Boston Bruins, and needless to say, the Washington Capitals, you knew we were going to have to play them at some point to get to the promised land. It comes earlier than later. I like the matchup. I think, we've had some good games, but obviously we had a game where we got wiped out. But how do you see that matchup?
Oh, I always worry about bigger, stronger teams. Tampa's bigger and stronger, and Washington's bigger and stronger. We always say, the NHL was going towards speed and skill. And we learned that wasn't always the case when we lost to the Blues. The Blues did to the Bruins what the Bruins did to Vancouver the year that we won Stanley Cup. We just bullied them out of the building, and the Bruins kind of get bullied out of the building. However, I was at Game 7 when we lost to the Blues. And we outplayed them in that game. We had a couple of hiccups. We outplayed them
in the first period.
Yeah, I thought we outplayed them in the game's good.
Yeah.
We thoroughly outplayed them in the first period. It looked like men against boys out there. Yeah. And then Marchand had that little hiccup with the line change, and there was a goal scored. And hockey's a funny sport, the goalie can win a game single-handedly, or he can lose a game single-handedly.
He can win a series. So what is it? Did the acquisitions of Taylor Hall and Riley
God.
Did that put them over the top? Is this now a team that can
No,
beat the
no,
Capitals?
Washington, see, the Capitals had that second line already, Scotty. You know what I mean?
Right.
They had what we were missing. They had an equivalent of what we have at the second line.
Yeah.
Does it make us more capable team? Absolutely. I mean, Krejci looks like he's been reborn. I don't know if it's because of the contract year or because Taylor Hall is here, but what a dramatic change we've seen from his production.
Yeah.
And that goal Taylor Hall had the other night was just magnificent in overtime.
I need a prediction, Timmy.
I hate to say it, but I think Washington's still the better team.
Yeah. So in what, 6?
6, yeah.
Bruins win in 7. Bruins will win the Stanley Cup.
I love it. I hope it happens. I'll be a happy guy.
I think that, when you have a certain team, and they were playing well at times, especially early in the season, but when you add a guy like Hall, when you add a guy like Riley in the back end, and it seems like they're playing their best hockey right now. If this was a race horse, if this was going to Kentucky Derby, they'd be a horse that I'd want to bet on. And I think that the expectations are lower this year. And I think this is it for guys like Bergeron.
I think the Caps. If we get past the Caps, I like the Bruins' chances.
Yeah.
The Caps just worry me. Their size and their skill, they worry me.
But there's no great team in hockey. I just said that about baseball. Wouldn't you agree there's no great team in hockey this year?
The Caps might be considered a great team in my book. I think they're very good.
All right. I mean, look, it's going to be fun. Are you going?
Oh yeah, I have tickets for all the games. It's funny. I just got a notification from the Celtics play-in games available for tickets. So I was like, delete.
Yeah. You going to buy them?
I'm going. No, I'm not going to buy them. I'm going to the second playoff game if they get into the playoffs. I don't want to be there for that miserable performance when, I leave disgusted and disappointed.
Yeah, my God. Last time you went was the Sixers when we were in, right?
Oh, I had enough of that.
All right. Well, that's our show for tonight. I want to thank everyone behind the scenes. Of course, Corbin, want to thank Timmy. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Wednesday night at 6:30 for another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.